What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 11 of Hustle and Heat Podcast. My name is George from Dove's Barbecue, and today we'd like to honor a special guest. This guy is the co-owner of Paradise Executive Real Estate. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome in Brian Faro. Brian,
George,
it's an honor to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my family moved down from New Jersey when I was 4 years old to Englewood. So Englewood's been home for, I think it's close to 40 years now. Grew up there, graduated high school there. Didn't really do much right after high school. Kind of, was one of those job, hoppers, construction, rescreened some pool cages, drove a garbage truck, just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life because I really wasn't pursuing much further education, and finally hit a point where I said, I'm going to hit the reset button and get out of town. And so went to Orlando for about 2 years. Ended up getting with Walgreens, which I actually worked there as a cashier in high school, but I got with Walgreens and I wanted to be a manager. And so they said, well, you can be a manager, but you got to ring up on the front register first. So there I was in Orlando making like $6.15 an hour and just ringing on the registers. But it took me about 3 years and a couple months, and I worked myself up to store manager. Actually moved back home with my then girlfriend, which is my now wife, and got my first store up in Sarasota, Fruitville and Beneva. Managed that store for about a year and a half, and then moved to the Englewood store that I actually was a cashier at. I was a manager there. Then got moved to Venice, and so that's what I was a good bulk of my very first career, about 10 years, and then got to a point where we were expecting triplets, so 3 girls. We have, and when that time kind of came, I was realizing that Walgreens was changing a lot and the growth opportunity was getting really restrictive. And I'm sitting here looking at my 3 daughters thinking of everything that's coming in life now, right? I mean, not just from an expense perspective, but even just being there for them. And retail management's not a place where you're going to be with your family all the time. Just like with restaurant business, it can be very demanding. So I decided to make a little change, got my real estate license, and now I think I'm just about to close in on my 12th year in this, and I'm a part owner in a company, manage about 140 agents, and life is good. So, that's a brief little summary there. There's a lot of other stuff that happened in between, but that's kind of the bulk of it.
A big process for you
to
go from dump truck driver to cashier to pool screener, and you went through a lot of hoops to get to where you are. What about real estate that is it that really intrigues you?
So, and a lot of people use this as their main reason is you're a people person, which I am. I love people. I love being with people. But the pure fact of just the dirt alone that someone owns and a building and a house, every little bit of it, zoning, all of that actually really interests me. And I didn't realize that until I started getting into it. Just like we talked a little before the podcast about, hey, what's going on with this property? You probably can't see it from the outside, but I get super excited on the inside when I can look up what any property type is and what they're going to do there and what can be done there. And property just really interests me. So, and then just the aspect that comes along with it, with helping people, get that first home, or maybe it's a secondary home or whatever it might be. And just, it's a big goal for a lot of people. So when you're a part of that process, it just really makes it exciting. So I really love just every aspect of it.
Nice. So when I do these podcasts with whichever guest comes on, I do a little research about them.
Okay.
See what they do and whatever. And I've noticed that you are a person that people follow on socials to figure out what's coming.
Yep.
How'd you get there?
So it all started with going back to what I just talked about. I have a really big interest in what goes on with properties, right? If something sells or I see a shovel hit the ground somewhere, I want to know what's happening. So I check the permit records, and it's all public records. Any of us can look that up. I just take the time to look it up. And so over the years, some of the roles I've played in Englewood, I'm past president of the Englewood Chamber of Commerce and some other organizations. And through that, I would always have those answers when people want to know what was happening. And so then it just kind of became where people would call me all the time. Hey, I just saw, someone parked a dump truck next to this lot. What's happening? And so I'd look it up for them if I didn't already know off the top of my head. And what I realized is that I can probably get this information out to a lot more people that probably want the answer but don't know who to ask. And then it cuts down a lot of my phone calls too, right? People that are texting and calling all day, what's happening here, what's happening there. I already posted it. And so as I post those things and people realize they see one that is of interest to them, right? Like the one we talked about this morning, if I post that, anybody in this area is gonna, as interest, clicks the follow button and they just try to follow along to see what else is happening. I don't provide any type, it's just the pure info, right? I don't give them my opinions typically. I mean, if I'm excited about something, I'll say that, but most of the time I just say, here's what's happening or here's what they're trying to do. And then I just back away and let people use that info how they want.
That's interesting. I like that. I need to start following you myself. As far as like development in this area, you've been here for many, many years.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were here when there was nothing, and now there's a lot of things.
Right.
What are you most proud of on this area, and what do you miss the most?
Well, I'll start with the miss the most thing. So when I started driving, and it was things like this were happening years before I was driving, but we used to have a lot of privately owned, like, now it's all preserve area, or some of it's been developed, but even like where Welland Park is, things like that were privately owned. And so we, didn't have a lot to do as far as like, there wasn't a lot of nightlife and kids activities to do. So we just get lost in the woods. I had a 4-wheel drive 1987 Toyota pickup truck, lifted up a little bit, and we would just hit the woods and go until we got stuck, and then we had to call for help. And actually, I date myself a little bit. We didn't even have a phone to call. We had to walk back to a main road. We were like right on the brisk of that cell phone being in everyone's hand. So, the adults had them, but the kids didn't. So sometimes we had to walk a few miles to flag someone down and get a ride to find someone to come pull us out. But if I had to say what I missed the most, it was that. We'd go camping in the woods. I mean, all kinds of cool stuff, and it was pretty harmless fun. We were just kind of just exploring and getting to know the land, and you run into a lot of wildlife. We would hunt, like the wild boars that are a really big problem in this area, very invasive and very damaging to our environment. So we would hunt those and help control that population. So that's what I probably missed the most. What I'm most proud of, I know this is going to have mixed opinions with everyone, but I feel like we do have some smart growth compared to a lot of other areas in the country. When I lived in Orlando for 2 years, it didn't seem like a lot of thought went into things. It was just constant building. Build, higher,
I lived
higher,
in
higher.
Orlando for 4 years, and it was the most depressing time of my
Right.
life.
Yeah, I mean, you'd see a building, you'd drive by one day, and the next day it was demoed, and you couldn't even think of why it would need to be demoed, but it was a perfectly fine building. They just did it to put a bigger, taller building up because they could, and they can make more money off of it. And I get that some of it feels that way here, but I think that the growth that's happened in this area has been stretched out long enough, and it might seem like it's happening at a fast pace, but compared to a lot of the rest of the country, I'm pretty proud of how it's been held back quite a bit. And I'm sure you're going to get a few comments, on the video that'll say people that might disagree with that, but
I mean,
again,
everyone's going to disagree with everything. Right?
Exactly.
Everyone has their own perspective. Everyone thinks differently. Some
Right.
people want to go back to that wildlife lifestyle,
right.
stay in tune with Earth and stuff like that, but that's not ideal in this area anymore. I think we're far long past that.
Yeah. We got to remember, population grows every day, so you're going to need more housing for people, right? It's not like our world's getting smaller every single day. More children are being born, more people are turning 18 or 25, or they're retiring. They retire from up north. Where do they go? They go where it's warm, right? So as that keeps happening more and more, our area is going to grow. And, so it's going to be bittersweet. I know a lot of people get really upset about it, but, things are going to change with or without our input. And I think what I like to do is know what's happening, try to have input when I can, if I can help provide some guidance, or if we do need to stand up against something, maybe it is a little too extreme. I'm happy to do those things when I agree with that, but for the most part, I think we need to allow things to kind of take place and happen within the restrictions that they're allowed.
Understood. What do you think this area still needs?
I think we have a huge opportunity for youth activities and services. I think that, when it comes to like parks and rec, we do have a lot of services like that, but I do travel around with some travel teams like soccer and pickleball my kids are into, and we go to some of these other complexes, and they're like, they're pretty impressive complexes, whether they're covered or indoor, things like that. So I think we've got definitely room for growth from the family perspective. I think, for our retirees, I think we pretty much have it covered. They, give them a beach and a pickleball court and they're fine. But I think youth services.
More tennis.
What's that?
No more tennis.
No more. Oh, it's
You're going to piss all the tennis fans off.
I know.
That's a big thing.
And it's a huge sport still. I mean, tennis is a great sport. My daughters did it for a while. It is a big sport, but yeah, pickleball's kind of taken that over.
I picked up the pickleball paddle for the first time like a few months ago. I saw my employees, and one of the girls that works there, she just like started freaking out. You shouldn't be playing that. You should be playing tennis, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jesus, take it easy. It's just fucking a sport.
You said it best a second ago. Someone's always going to be upset about something, right? So, I mean, both sports will always exist, but pickleball has just grown in popularity.
Yeah.
And a big portion of why it's so big down here is it's quick, easy movements. You get two people on that court, and you've got a very small area. You get two people on a tennis court that are 80 years old, they're not crossing from one side to the other to get that ball. It's just not going to happen. So this is just something much simpler. So that's who it initially like attracted. Well, then what happens? You get younger, fit people that start playing. They're like, I can dominate because I don't have a big court to cover. Yeah. So now they're out there dominating this, and it's becoming popular with every single age group.
100%.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very competitive out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where do you see this area going in the next 10 years?
So it's basically that commercial development I think that we're going to see. So I do a lot with Florida realtors, and one of the big things that they lobbied for over the past several years was eliminating the business rent tax, right? So you come in and you rent a building.
Yeah, we no longer pay that.
Yeah, it's gone. It was 12% at one point, and it slowly got reduced down to zero. That was a goal of Florida realtors, was to get that reduced to zero because it attracts more businesses to the area. Less expense for you, the property owner, everyone. There's less expenses there, and there's less of having to bring those funds in and pay someone to manage it and get it to the state and all of that. So what that's going to do is that's going to bring a lot more businesses from other states, right? They're looking at higher rent taxes up in New York and other states like that. Bring it to Florida, right? There's sunshine. Yeah, got to dodge a hurricane here and there, but we're getting pretty good at that.
Very good at that.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot better at that. Being prepared, being structurally sound, and being able to handle those things. But yeah, coming here and operating a business is really ideal now compared to a lot of other areas in the country. So I think commercial growth is going to be pretty big over the next 10 years. As
far as hurricane goes, I tell everybody the same thing. I'm like, at first when I first moved here, because Ian was my first big hurricane.
Okay, yep.
And it was cool, like, it was an all day long thing. I didn't really care. But once I opened those doors, that's when I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? But what I tell people is, like, anywhere you live, there's always pros and cons to where you live. Like, we could live in California and never know when an earthquake's going to hit.
Right.
Or live in the Midwest, never know when a tornado's going to come.
Right.
So, I mean, at least with hurricanes, we know that, like,
yeah, wildfires. I mean, they're not pre-planned. They're not like, hey, there's going to be a wildfire tomorrow, be prepared. Like, no, it's like, hey, it started right now and it's coming to you. Yeah. So, yeah, I 100% agree. The preparation time I think we have, can it be very destructive? Absolutely. But our communities are getting better at responding to that. And I know there's a lot of criticism around it when people look at like the county's response times on certain things. But, they say like, even for Charlotte County, people criticize them for the response time on some things for Ian. And they think that they should have all the experience from back when we had Charlie. Charlie was a different type of storm. It didn't hammer us for that long. I mean, there was a lot of damage. It was devastating to Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda. But Ian was a totally different thing. So every time a new one happens, the response time and figuring out new things, and when things change, right? Like our communities are different now than they were back in 2006, 7, 8. So, we grow, we get stronger. So personally, I feel that people pick this area now because we can react to those, we can prepare, we can evacuate, but we can also be here and we can enjoy all the great things, the sun, the beaches, the no business rent tax. I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity here.
100%. There's a lot of opportunity here in the area. And we're only going to get better and better as years go on.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I feel like we have 3 good cities, Northport, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda.
Yeah.
And I think they're all different in their own way, but all similar in the same way.
Absolutely.
In your perspective, which city do you think has the most upside for the future?
Well, I think the most growth is going to happen, especially from a size perspective, is going to be city of Northport. There's growth opportunity in city of Venice and city of, Punta Gorda, but Northport with Welland Park and what's coming there and what they're attracting, as well as what we just talked about right across the street where Benderson Development is coming in and expanding
Aren't
Cocoa
they
Plum.
building something across the street from Welland Park too?
Yeah, they just picked up land there too, and so they plan to do like probably something similar like across the street here, maybe a little smaller scale. But yeah, just more of that retail type setting that people want. And that's what's crazy. If you remember a few years back, people were talking a lot about like how online's going to completely change and no one's going to go and stores are closing down. The stores that closed down are the ones that didn't adapt, right? And didn't change with that to make the in-person experience of a store like outweigh getting it delivered by Amazon the next day or today, or getting it delivered same day by Walmart or whoever. When you have a good experience for them, they'll skip that just to come have that experience. They'll skip it to come see a person they like. People like you, George. So if they know you're going to be here, they're going to come in.
100%.
Could they pull through a drive-through and make it easier to grab some quick food and go home? Absolutely. But can they come here and be around you and your fun staff and see other people? That experience is what it's all about.
100%.
So we're going to see retail continue to make a rebound for the people who know how to do it right.
100%. And I will say, as a consumer myself, I do both. I do online and in store.
Right.
But I mean, I know Amazon's 2 days or next day. I'd rather just go get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's something that I don't need right away, and it's just easier to just order from my phone and it'll be at my doorstep like in a couple of days, then I'll do it.
Right.
But like as far as like going to get clothes, going to get this, that, shoes, whatever, I'm not going to order any of that online.
No.
I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, and then you're just constantly returning stuff. I can't order clothes and
I
shoes.
hate returning things.
Yeah.
I refuse.
I get it.
I refuse to return things, especially if it's online. Like,
right.
I'll just take the L. But that's why I don't like. I'm really selective on what I purchase online. 'Cause if I got to return it, then I'm gonna be upset.
Absolutely.
Very upset. As far as you, what are your goals in the next 10 years?
My goals, so, I guess I kind of break it down into segments. So next 10 years, I break it down a little smaller into about 5. I have triplet daughters and they're all in 7th grade right now. So we're in a very important time right now, right? Like they're actively involved in sports. Their education is very important. And I want to be very involved in the sports. I want to be very involved at the school level in any way that I can. So I'm putting a huge focus on that. Career-wise, I don't want to say I'm on cruise control, but a lot of my day-to-day activities are just keeping our brokerage flow working. But I'm someone who, I wasn't like this when I was younger, but I'm very much like that in my adult life. I constantly want to learn more, and I want to change, and I want to adapt. And one of the books that I remember from my Walgreens days that was always recommended was From Good to Great. I think it's by Jim Collins. It's an older book, but it talks a lot about Circuit City, Blockbuster Video. Those things ring a bell for a lot of people. Those people are gone. But if you think about it, Circuit City's gone, but what about their competitor, Best Buy? They still exist. Now, how are they doing right now? I think still pretty good, but that customer experience is what kept them around. And Blockbuster could have easily been right there with Netflix and everybody else.
They just kept going with the times.
Yeah, but they tried to stay where they were at, and that you can't.
You can't. And that's what I try to tell people, because you see a lot of older heads that stuck in their ways, is like, you got to progress with the times.
Yeah. Yep. Whether you want to or not. If you don't, you're going to end up just fizzling out. So
either the time's going to get you or you get the time.
Exactly.
And it's like, for instance, restaurants. Like, I still see restaurants with the old cash register. You don't know what the charge is, and you don't have that online customer experience or anything like that, and or it looks old and dusty, and it's just food's good, but you got to catch up with the times, because that's what people want. People look before they taste, or
Yep, tap to pay, things like that. I mean, even the ones now where you literally get your receipt and it's got the QR code. That's okay.
I have the ability to do that, but it's just then it gives the servers an extra excuse to be like, oh, they walked out on their bill.
Well, right, yeah, and that it was all fine, but those are things that you'll see continue to progress, but even the tap to pay thing, that's a huge one. You go somewhere and you can't do that. I haven't carried my actual debit card. I don't even need it for the ATM. I do it all from my phone. I haven't carried it in probably 8 years. I go up to the ATM, I tap the Wells Fargo ATM, and I get right in.
I love my tap to pay, man. That's all I use. I mean, I still carry my wallet around just because I'm used to it.
Yep.
But sometimes it just stays in the truck. Sometimes it stays in my back pocket.
Right.
And I don't know. Tap to pay is just so convenient. It's right there. I don't have to do anything. Yep. And I feel like that's the future of the world.
Yep.
I'll be surprised if we don't get our IDs on our phone.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever lost a debit or credit card?
No.
Yeah, I know I have. I did years ago. I don't remember what the scenario was, but you lose it. I mean, people steal stuff. So if I don't have a card for them to steal, I mean, they get my phone, it's locked down, they can't get into it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I kind of look at it. But yeah, next 10-year thing, to kind of sum that part up, I mean, I'm just constantly looking at more ways to grow, not just personally, but even like with our community, grow with the community, grow my knowledge. And then a lot of people around me, I'm very actively involved, obviously with my daughters, but even at the school level. I started a program this past year, and I got it perfected a lot because it was the first year, but it's called Young Gentlemen's League, and it's for 7th and 8th grade boys at middle school. My daughters are in 7th grade, so I feel like it's a fitting time for me to go to the 7th grade boys and try to teach them how to be nice young gentlemen, right? Like learn respect and things like that. Those are things that really interest me, right? Like if I can inflict something in their life that is a positive change and contributes positively to the world, then one day when I'm retired, there should be a lot more, great people around me. And so that's a lot of my focus, is that type of stuff. It's not always my personal development. A lot of my development comes from, it's not always my personal development. A lot of that development comes from me developing other people. I learn just as much. And so that's, I think, a big part of that next 10 years for me.
So with you just saying that, kind of like got to me a little bit. Like you're there trying to like teach young boys how to be men. Business aside, your goals and aspirations aside, who are you as a person? Who are you as a man, as a father, as a
absolutely.
husband? What's your philosophy?
Yeah, well, so mine honestly just starts like right at the core. Like there's nothing like, fake or made up about it. I honestly just want to be a genuinely good person. I want people to see me and, not necessarily respect me, but I want them to see someone that they appreciate. They know that they can have a good conversation with and not have someone that gets angry with them or upset, someone that's not judgmental, right? Like I try not to be judgmental about anyone or anything, no matter what's good, bad, and different. I try to hold back judgment. I more so want to ask questions to find out maybe why a situation's a certain way, but never make someone feel judgmental. So me at the core, it's super important to me. And even at home, right? Like I don't want to be misperceived by my wife or my daughters or any of my family. Like I want us to all be working together, to never have arguments, fights. Disagreements are fine, right? As long as they're, we mutually respect each other. But
healthy disagreements.
What's that?
Healthy, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we can walk. Disagreements is how you react.
Exactly. We walk out of here from a conversation and we don't agree upon something. There's no reason we shouldn't still be friends.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no reason we shouldn't see each other
but
again.
I feel like we lack that in today's society.
Huge, yeah.
Big time.
And I think more and more people can learn that. It takes time. I used to not be that way, just so you know, because that's one thing that people look at sometimes is like, oh, well, they were just born that way. Maybe it was born in me, but I certainly fought against it when I was younger, and I would react inappropriately. And when I was high school, even middle school, and even a few years after that, I had been in fistfights. Like, that's not appropriate. Like, there's no reason you should be in a fistfight unless if that's your profession, right? I mean, in my opinion, there's other ways to resolve things, and it's never going to lead toward any positive outcome, ever. There's no positive outcome.
Words and conversation are tougher than hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you can't do it and it needs to be fist, then just walk away.
Yeah.
Go think about it for a little while and circle back if you need to.
Yeah, that's like me. When I get angry, I just shut up and I walk away.
Yep.
And I think about it, and the next day I'll address whatever I need to address. But
right.
An angry man is not always the right man.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, and you don't want to use anger and fear to get your way, because
you won't be respected.
It pushes people away from you.
100%.
So when I look to, make a point or try to get my point across or get people on board with something I think we should be doing or someone should be doing, I do it all respectfully. And if I can't, I don't get angry at it. I just try to walk away from the situation and let it be. I tried my best, and that's 100%. How they want to be. So
I got this thing on my table right here, Self-Inflicted Success by Brian Faro. Tell us a little bit about this book.
Yeah, so that was about 6 years in the making as far as putting the content together, having someone proof it, edit it, have a few friends proof it. It took me a little while to get that put together, but honestly, that's a lot of things that I learned in my adult life. I would say probably even more so starting from the Walgreens days. There's a lot of core stuff from like growing up and a lot of things that were instilled from my parents. But as I was in my 20s and learning a lot through managing stores and trying to manage people and having customers that were 3 times my age, at 20, 25, 24 years old, it's just a lot of the things that I've used to create a mindset and like a culture around me that creates more success, right? So You can go out and you can get a degree, and that degree can get you somewhere. But when you get there, what keeps you there, right? If the degree gets you there, your resume gets you there, what keeps you there? That's what this book's about. It's things that can get you there as well, but it's the things that'll keep you there. The way that you treat people, the way that you think, the way that you act, all of that is built into this book. And just to try to get more people to think differently than what they're seeing the world teaches them right now, right? If you watch any news source, which I don't like to watch news really at all. But what do they teach you? Anger, frustration, violence, all of that is being taught and it's really being pushed on our people now. And this is a complete opposite of that. It's not using that. It's taking a step back, evaluating things, and just trying to be a better person.
I agree. And where can someone get this book?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, brianfaro.com, and it'll take you all the direct links. But if you look it up, Self-Inflicted Success on Amazon, it comes right up, and they have it shipped to you in a few days. So, this is the part I tell people. I think it's good for any age group. But if I had to say who I wrote it for the most, it was probably like the 14 to 16-year-old me, the me that didn't listen. Unfortunately, it's the me that probably wouldn't have picked a book up and read it too. So I wrote it for a kid who wouldn't have picked up the book. My goal is to get someone to pick it up that maybe will take a chance on it and see if it can have an impact on their life. And I think it really could. I think if they take this stuff to heart and they really understand that these key things can take you further. I've done a lot of things in my life without a degree, right? I've been a store manager of a store when that was a big push for them was to have a degree, and they used to recruit right out of UCF and other colleges. They were right there like, hey, you got your degree, come be an assistant manager and we'll have you a store manager in a year. I did it in like 3 years and a few months without the degree, but I did it from stuff like this in the book, where
Do you
it's
have a degree now?
I don't. I still don't have a degree.
How do you feel about that aspect of life?
So I think people really need to evaluate what they're going to do in life and what that degree does for them. If there's a requirement to get to that position with a degree, then I'm all for it. If you know there's something you want to do, like you want to be in business management, there's plenty of times you can do that without that degree, right? You can go, and especially the way schools are going now, they're prepping a lot of kids. This new Welland Park High School has a program where they prep kids that the day they graduate, they already have helped them set up their business entity. They can start running their business the day they get out of school. It's all set to go. They teach them about money management, all of that. Those programs, if they keep growing in our schools, it's going to be huge. So I think higher education is really important. Where you get it from, it doesn't in every case make a huge difference. So all of my higher education has come from other people listening, being a good person to them, so that they invested an interest in me to help me learn and grow. And then I research the heck out of stuff. I mean, if I want to know something, I don't just Google it and see what comes up on the top, or, well, now I'm ChatGPT and everything. I don't just read the first sentence and call that what it is. I dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And sometimes that original thing I see is not the true answer. It's not the way it needs to be. But I figure it out, through more and more research. So everyone should constantly be educating themselves more on whatever it is that they want to do with their life, whether it's through college or not, or through a physical degree. That's totally up to them.
I understand. I agree with you. I think it's important, but not as important as people portray it to be.
Yeah.
Like growing up, my parents were always like, don't get in the restaurant business, go get a degree, this, that, the other. And I listened to them, and it was the most depressing time of my life.
Yeah.
I'm just not that person that's going to sit at a desk and work or whatever it is. And I feel like I learned a lot more running a business than I did in the 4 or 5 years I spent at a university.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just has paid off more than that degree has ever paid off.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I agree. Unless your career demands that, then I don't think it's necessary. It is definitely beneficial, but not necessary in my opinion.
Absolutely. And there's unlimited potential for everyone. If we think about any employee you have here, right, that might think, well, I'm not the owner, I'm not the boss, I'm just kind of stuck, or this is what I'm doing for now and I might do something later. Every one of them has an opportunity. If they put everything they have into this being the most successful business,
but if they
it's
think
not
like
just
that, they'll never be anything.
Well, right, but they can get past that, right? And they can, what it is a lot of people don't realize the time it takes and the energy and the consistency, and they try temporarily and then they just give up. I tried to do this and it didn't work. Keep trying, keep going. It's gonna work, it's gonna happen. So let's just paint a picture real quick. one of your employees steps up and just becomes the best possible employee ever, right? They don't have interest in being an owner or opening up their own restaurant or anything like that. They make this place so wildly popular. They become a huge face of this business. People come in here to see them too, and they put you in a position where people are demanding it so much that you open up another store, right? Now you need more people, you need more leadership. Who's going to be that leadership? It's going to be that person, right? When they can prove that that's the type of person they are, they help a company grow, and they're going to get rewarded for it. So I think people limit themselves sometimes based off of that position that they're in, and that this is a temporary stepping stone, and I'm just kind of floating here until I get to do what I really want to do in life. You're either going to go do what you really want to do in life, or you're going to make the most out of where you're at right now. Make the most out of it. You can be the most amazing cashier ever, and it can pay off. You can be the most amazing server or bartender or cook, and it can pay off. There's always advancement opportunities. Your worth goes up, your value goes up, and you become indispensable. And if things, recede a little bit in this business, who's going to go first? You're going to have to make some tough decisions, but it's going to be the people that aren't pulling their weight, right? So you become indispensable. That's what I always focus on. I want to be indispensable. If everybody's going to go, I'm going to be the last. I mean, that's my goal, right? To be the last one that's going to go if we really have to shut everything down.
100%. Yeah. And, you hit it on the point. They don't see what it takes, the dedication it takes, the consistency, the work it takes. Like right now, I'm working 7 days a week from 4 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, sometimes later than that, right? Just to have consistent prep work done, right? And as a worker, I never thought of like those negative thoughts like, oh, this is just a stepping stone. I just want to be the best person. Yeah. Want to work my butt off and see where it can go. And I'm a firm believer that no matter what career or what position you're in, as long as you work hard, you can always take something from that knowledge and that experience and benefit from it in your future life, right? Yeah. But if you're always negative, you're always going to be negative. Absolutely. Unless you have an awakening one day, right? If you're always like, oh, this is not my place, or if you're that's that, the other. I've had 2 chefs work for me, opened up their own restaurants in 5 years that I've been open, right? Yep. And both chefs worked their asses off. Yeah. And they're both doing great, and I'm proud of them. And I think that's as well a reflection of myself. I'm not taking all the credit, but like just to see them go from an employee to a boss with their own business, like it's a very it's an honor to see. Absolutely. And it's honestly awesome to see. Yeah, that goes on your resume, as much as it does. And I take that as a compliment, big time. Absolutely. And you bring up a good point with that. A lot of people, people realize and they don't realize sometimes. So they realize sometimes when they have a boss who, pulls in sideways in their Maserati, parks in the front spot at noon, comes in, empties out the register, and takes back off, and okay, see you later, right? Like they see that and they know that, but they might not see, and hopefully they know that you're coming in here at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that when they get here, this is like in the best possible condition it can be for them. That's huge. They got to see the value in that. And I think it's okay for a boss to let them know that. Like, hey, this is how the day goes. This is how the workflow goes. You guys let me know if there's something you think needs adjusted or changed, because I'm here at 4 o'clock in the morning. My agents know that I'm at the office by 6 a.m. every morning. Every single morning I'm there at 6 a.m. And 6 to 8 a.m. I get more work done then. When I say more work, I get more of what I want to do done from 6 to 8. Me too. 8 o'clock starts. Now I get a lot done all day long, but it's for everybody else. Yeah. It's whatever they need, which is also beneficial for you. I'm the same way. Yeah. Like my best time is from 4 in the morning till 9 in the morning, where I'm by myself. Yep. I usually listen to like a podcast or listen to some music. Just depends on my mood that day. And I get the most work done possible. And then people start trickling in, and you have to worry about other people, worry about this, worry about that. And it's not the same. Right. But that 4 to 9 time is, it's peace. It's absolutely. Like, dude. Yep. And when you can pick up extra stuff too, I talk about that employee thing. When I was at Walgreens, when I was a cashier in Orlando, I used to take every single shift I could. There was a week I had, the check had, I think it was 86 hours on the check. I would leave. I went to the store. In 1 week or 2 weeks? Yeah, 1 week. I went from. So I left the store at. It was like 4 days in a row. I worked 7 days that week, but 4 days in a row. I went 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Left there and went straight to another store and worked 5 p.m. to midnight. Now I was in my 20s, like 22 years old. Yeah, I didn't need sleep. And I was just, and the thing is, it's crazy. You would think, oh, this guy's hungry for money. Sure, that's the benefit of it, I guess. I was hungry for knowledge. I went to another store and worked with a different crew and a different manager, and I learned good and bad. Man,
which
you
was
can
all
learn
positive
from
for me.
anybody. You can
Absolutely.
learn anything from anybody. A homeless person,
Right.
person less well off than you are. Like, everyone's knowledge is different in this world,
Yeah.
and you can learn from everybody.
Absolutely.
Like anybody.
Yeah.
You know? And that's one thing that like has really like helped me prosper in life. Is
Absolutely.
that mindset, because I've always believed that.
Yep.
And I just sit there and I listen, I absorb everything. If I don't agree, then I don't agree. I don't really care
Yeah.
to be like, oh, I don't agree with that, unless it's just like I'm passionate about it.
Right.
But, you know, I'm going to see everyone's perspective, how everyone does things and how they go about life. And I take a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there, put my twist on it, bring it
Yeah.
together.
Absolutely.
And that's just how it is. And I was the same way. I never cared about money.
Right.
For me, I never cared about money, even till this day.
Yeah. It'll follow.
know,
You do the
it'll-
right
it'll
thing. You
come
work
when
hard.
it's right, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
And you know, I've been doing this for 5 years, and I'm still like just investing in the company. And
Yeah.
you know, obviously, I've rewarded myself a little bit, but not anything to brag about. And I'm still happy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not about money. It's about what I like to do. It's about an experience. It's about building a legacy here at Dubs, and that's just how I feel. And how
Yeah,
I
that's
go
one of the
about my life.
chapters is my happy place. Just like talking to people about, you have to create a happy place.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, whatever position or wherever you're at right now, if you're not content with it, that's fine. You can grow, but you got to find a way to be happy, because that will create more growth. And
Yeah.
so that's a huge part of, I think, the book as well, is just, or just life in general. People need to focus on a happiness and find out where that's at, and just make it happen.
I agree. I got 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
One, have you ever dined at Dubs? Dined
Yeah.
in?
We were just here. Yeah, we just came over the weekend. We were up here.
Give me a pro and give me a con.
Pro and a con. So pro, I absolutely love the food. Man, I don't know that we had. It was a good experience. I mean, the food was good. The server was great. We came in, we were greeted immediately, sat immediately. Food came out quick.
He's brown nosing.
I honestly had a good experience. Yeah. Gosh, I don't think. So here's what I will tell you. If there was a con and it was even outside, so I
Here's
give
the
a lot
but.
I give a lot of flexibility to people, right? Like I know,
Yeah.
but let me tell you this right now. If there was an issue, my wife would have reported it. She would have said it at the table to me, and I would have something for you.
Yeah.
We didn't get that back, so you're in good shape.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah, I hope more people come out, give it a try. It's not far from our house, you know, believe it or not. We're out here all the time, and it's just, you're just constantly like, we run down this way and we're just going somewhere and going home. And I told her, I said, I got to make it intentional. And when we go somewhere now, that's going to be in the trip. So we made it intentional that it was part of our trip this past weekend.
There you go. That's
So,
awesome. Well, I
yeah.
appreciate you guys coming by. Lastly, we're going to wrap this up. But lastly, I know you're very philosophical and stuff like that. Any last quotes for the people to hear?
So
Something you want people to think about, know?
yeah, it's one of the things that I've been using a lot lately, and it's from, I've only seen the clip of it. I've never watched it all, but there's a show, Ted Lasso, and they use a quote that's supposed to be from Walt Whitman. And I love the quote, and I've been using it a lot. And I kind of said a little bit of it earlier when we were talking, but be curious, not judgmental. I think that's huge. Like, please start with the questions. Ask questions to seek an understanding first. And when I say that, you can have someone, and I'll talk straight to the political people, you political people, right? Because there's some that are so extreme. If you ask questions to the other side to find out why their mind...
And don't get butthurt.
Yeah, exactly. But find out why their mind thinks that way. Because even if you're not going to change them, when you better understand them,
It's
I think
easier.
it helps. Yeah, and so that's the thing. If you don't understand that quote on the surface, be curious, not judgmental. It's ask questions before you start jabbing your finger at people. That's the purest way you can possibly live life. Constantly ask questions to learn more. Then form your opinion, but please understand that we're all different, and don't just be holding this against people.
I agree with you 100%, man. It was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate
Hopefully
the invite.
we can get you on again sometime
Absolutely.
in the near future. Guys, if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see you next week for episode 12. We appreciate you and hope you guys have a great day, all right? Thank you.